Michelle, my kids would be very jealous that I'm standing in front of the Minecraft booth here at COP26. How does Minecraft have anything to do with sustainability or the future or learning about Greenland or any of that?
It's a great question. Part of why Minecraft is at the stand at Microsoft's stand in the Green Zone this year is because we're doing everything from technology work to transform big companies all the way down to educating the future. So our Minecraft module includes climate change education and curriculum for kids to learn in school while having fun.
They love it. It is like a big deal. It's Legos or Lego and Minecraft.
Indeed. It literally building a better future starts with our kids, so what better time to give them building opportunities inside Minecraft to do that?
It's almost like the virtual form of Lego, right?
It really is, yes.
And so tell me about what we're doing as we walk around here through the Microsoft booth here in the Green Zone at COP26. I know Microsoft runs a lot of servers, and servers use a lot of air conditioning. What are you doing about that?
We're trying to get out of the air conditioning business in data centers. We've done everything from sink a data center into the ocean to get rid of cooling concerns, all the way to using things like adiabatic cooling, so you can just cool it in air in a lot of places. And then when we can't do that, when the temperature's just too high, we are using recycled water systems. So we're actually, in some cases, building our own wastewater treatment facility, just using recycled water, just using gray water. We've gotten our servers very used to being a little hotter than they used to be and dealing with a little less water than they used to be, and they're doing just fine.
Show me around here. Tell me some of the other stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so we wanted to make this stand a place where people could really come and learn about what Microsoft is doing. Not just what we're saying, but what we've actually started to do around the world. So some of that starts with the globe here. We've got some of our stories of grantees, organizations that we've helped around the world start to change. So Operation Cleanup here in Asia is a great one, or that should be Ocean Cleanup.
And if you're watching this on TV, on the Tubi app and through Pattern, you can actually scan that from your TV, and it will take you right there.
Yeah,
but tell us about it so they don't have to scan.
Ocean Cleanup is just one of about 700 organizations that we've helped through a program we call AI for Earth. And what they do is that they use increasingly cloud-based apps run on Azure, so we help them manage their data so they don't have to worry about that. All they need to do is they've got the full infrastructure to run their organization. Ocean Cleanup actually works to pull ocean waste out. If you remember anything about the work they did at the Great Garbage Patch a couple of years ago,
yes.
That's Ocean Cleanup. And what's really cool about the Ocean Cleanup work is getting all of that plastics out of the ocean. Let me come show you over here. Ocean plastics are great for a lot of things. They're also really great for mice. Yes. So we have actually worked with Ocean Cleanup. Some of the waste that we've recovered from ocean waste has been broken down and put into our brand new mouse here, right here. It's also in Xbox controllers these days. We're using about 20% of what we call PCRs, which is really just a fancy way to say that's post-consumer resins that are going in there. And so it's not just enough for us to have a zero waste commitment. We need to actually enable people to get rid of it, and then we need to find another use for it.
Is this just a specialty mouse, or is that going to be all Microsoft mice in the future?
We think that's where we're headed. We started with applications, so with mice and controllers, and eventually we're moving into it. I would say in the future we're really interested in what your Surface device will actually be made of. This is a carbon neutral fabric already, and we're looking at ways that we can pull in either recycled units into this, and so in the future Surface devices will not only be recyclable, so you can actually reuse all of the components, but they'll be made from recycled components. So we're really getting at that circular economy approach to everything that we do.
So the problem with electronics, from not just Microsoft and from all other organizations, is they use a lot of things called rare earth elements, which are deep mining takes these things out of the ground, and it happens in the poorest places in the world. What are you doing to help that problem? Or because every single product that comes off the line has these rare earth elements in them.
Yeah, both rare earth, and then we actually are pretty well covered in the 4 TGs, so tin, tungsten, titanium, and gold, which is already being regulated in the United States. So we've done several things. We usually, when we confront a problem that big, we like to look at it, how do we change it through our operations? So we have direct contracts with our suppliers to make sure that they are increasingly sourcing those materials responsibly. We do spot check audits all the way down to the mine and smelter level to make sure that that's happening now. We report on that every year. And then on top of that, we are also using our technology in new ways to think about doing this work. So we're trying to use more sustainable materials inside of that. We don't use all that much rare earth. We're really just in our device components in those. But we've got a long way to go, and we can't do it ourselves, which is why we work through groups like the Responsible Business Alliance with other tech companies. Yes, I know everybody thinks we don't play well with one another, but we do on problems like this because we all have to use the same materials and we all have the same environmental commitments.
Wow, we really have, what you're hearing up there is the wind and the rain. I believe we are now in Scotland.
I think it's official, yes. Yeah, it's only appropriate that we're talking with the Weather Channel when there's some severe weather going on outside.
But you're from Redmond, so you know all about the rain.
Very accustomed to 50 degrees and a chance of rain. That is all it is this time of year. So yeah, we feel
in the Pacific Northwest.
Right at home, indeed.
So tell me some of the other stuff that we can see around here.
So one of the things I mentioned is we are really interested in not just making Microsoft better, but making the world better. And the best way that we have to scale is through all of the customers that we work with. So we've got another sponsor, SSE. We have worked with them to actually understand not just how to make their wind turbines more productive, but how to protect puffins, which is why they're in the trees over there.
Look, there they are.
So we have puffins actually are in a lot of the areas where offshore wind turbines go, and we need to make sure that we protect their ecosystem. So not only are we using AI to make sure that their wind turbines are moving a little bit more quickly, but we're also making sure that we protect these guys the whole way.
I believe they're also in the Scottish Highlands. They're not just in Iceland.
That is right. Yes, they're all over the place. Recycle is another one of our folks, given we were just talking about, only about 8% of waste globally is recycled, and so they are using a really interesting AI application to start to be able to actually track individual assets through time and then use machine learning so you don't have to have pickers pulling things off of the recycling line. You can actually see exactly what it is, and just like a QR code will send you for more information, you can use that to actually know exactly what to do with that particular item.
That's a big deal. Let's look at the landfill right here. And if you put something in what in my neighborhood is the blue bin, and it just goes into the truck, up until now there has not been any robot that knows what glass is or what plastic is or what green glass or dirty diapers, all sorts of gross stuff that goes in the recycling. People have to pick that stuff out. I don't think a lot of people know that when you put it in the recycle bin, it just doesn't go to a robot, but it goes to people right now.
Yeah, it goes to people right now, and that's why you really only have recycling infrastructure in countries that have the ability to A, pick it out, and B, to process it. And that is what some of the Recycle work is getting at. I think we're really interested in how to use machine learning at the right way and at the right scale. I think a lot of people think that AI is sort of magic that we don't really understand. Sometimes it just helps us solve problems that are a time and a scale resource, and this is one of them. If we can just quickly scan a whole lot of waste like that and have the ability to create those images, understand where it goes and where it's being sorted, we have better data that feeds back into the algorithm to make it smarter over and over, and then we are really getting back to the business of putting waste where it needs to go and recycling it rather than figuring out what is waste.
So just to be clear, right now it's humans on very dirty, gross lines picking out your recycling, but in the very near future, you're going to actually have these robots that are intelligent, that know the difference between different recycled goods and pull them out. How far away are we from that?
That is a great question. I can tell you it's already happening in Redmond right now. We have some little tiny computer vision and algorithms that go right on top that scan what you're going into the bin. You mentioned blue bins. In a place like Seattle, we have a lot of different color bins, and we have a lot of employees that are trying to figure out the difference between recycling, compost, and what is actually waste. There's a lot of peer pressure that goes on to make that right decision. So we've just removed some of that complexity. So now you kind of put it up, it scans what the image is, and then it tells you what to do with it. And that's at the front end. We can do that on the back end when we're working with groups like Waste Management and other customers.
So you got to be careful which bin you're putting in. If you do, you can contaminate the whole thing.
Yes, If you choose badly, you will be publicly shamed and then also mess up the global recycling system.
And let's end with the future of sustainable power. I see these wind turbines back here. Are you going to be running on carbon negative or wind power, solar power, all that?
We already have a good bit of renewable energy in our portfolio. We have a commitment to be 100% renewable powered by 2025 on our quest to become carbon negative by 2030. So what we're doing right now is purchasing renewable energy through new agreements and contracts. We're also deploying it where it makes sense on sites. So not so much solar in Redmond, but in other places where we're expanding into, like Mexico, solar does make a good bit of difference, whether that's in our data centers or whether it's in our offices. And really our focus to get on carbon negative is to reduce as much as we possibly can. So getting carbon out of our supply chain and devices, from the materials all the way up to production, replace the energy with renewables, and then remove what we have left over in our supply chain.
Well, it's really nice to hear what a multinational corporation is doing with the questions being asked out on the front lines with all those people in that protest. Is that information? Are those voices being heard here? Because they want you as a multinational corporation to listen up and make some changes. Is that voice being heard here?
I certainly think it is. We all know that we do not have a lot of time, and there are whole huge ecosystem shifts that need to happen in the way that business operates, and that includes our business. That includes the role that we have to move farther and faster and to be a bigger advocate for the environment and for those voices, and also means the work that we do with our customers. We do not have a lot of time left. We're a data-driven company, so we know what the science says. We've got to move fast, and I appreciate them holding our feet to the fire, because that's what we need.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you back in Seattle when we get back there.